GM everyone, welcome back to another episode of Touch Grass Podcast. Today we are with Max from Privy. You've probably interacted with Privy in one way or the other in crypto. If you've been in crypto, every app is powered by them. They work with over 1,000 teams. They had their biggest story of the year, I would say. Welcome, Max. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
I would say it's like the story that everyone knows about but hasn't talked about. Like it's just there in the sidelines. I feel like the acquisition this year was sort of the moment. So I'm really excited to talk to you, Max. There's a lot of questions that we have, but start us off. Yeah, give us like an introduction about yourself. Talk to us about Privy. How's your experience been working there? Start us off.
So my quick life story is I'm a New York native. I grew up on Long Island outside of New York City, went to college in New York. And then like a true New Yorker, I worked in traditional finance for 4 years. And I, toward the end of that, started working with tech companies, got really into startups in tech. And I joined Brex really early on, a fintech company in the US, just as they were taking off. And that company grew explosively, and they're a fintech company. They help businesses get bank accounts and credit cards and everything you need financially to run your business. And building products at Brex on top of all the legacy payment rails, I started realizing just how inefficient all of the financial infrastructure that underpins the world is. It's kind of crazy how slowly money moves, even in the US, where people, will make claims like, oh, we don't need crypto and stablecoins in the US because money moves fast. It still takes like 3 to 5 days for a payment to get from one bank to another in many cases. And so that was what made crypto click for me. I got super excited about crypto. I knew I wanted to work in it in some capacity. And the deeper I went into crypto, the more excited I got about the stuff Privy does. Like a lot of the products, this is 2020, 2021, a lot of these products were really hard to use, really intimidating. Once you use them, it was like a light bulb moment. Like my first time making a swap on Uniswap, my mind like exploded that, a full financial exchange could just like work autonomously without humans in the loop, and the incentives just keep the thing running. But it was so hard to use. And so I was like, if you believe in crypto, someone needs to build something that makes these products easier to use, makes the crypto more invisible. And that's how I got to meeting Henry and Asta, the Privy founders. I met them before they launched their product and joined as our first non-engineer. And that was almost 4 years ago now. And we have been building Privy together ever since. I'm our COO now, so oversee all things non-engineering at the company, and excited to dive in wherever you'd like from there.
Awesome. I think 2025 has been like probably your breakout year, or I don't know how you would describe it, but it has been like the biggest of all the announcements, all the partnerships, and you've been working with so many fintech giants, institutions as well. If you had to sum up this whole year for Privy, what would you how would you describe it?
This is definitely the year where stablecoins became part of like any money moving company's conversation. Like if you are a big financial services company and you're not doing something with crypto and stablecoins, people are asking questions. Big companies that don't have a strategy around this are starting to be seen as legacy or like not investing in the next wave. And that's like a mind-blowing thing compared to in 2022 post FTX crashing, when I'd go back to my former team at Brex and say, are you thinking about crypto and stablecoins at all? They'd be like, absolutely not. We're not. That makes no sense for us. And now, they're out announcing this as a big part of their product strategy, and every company like them is as well. So this is the year that like we've taken just a quantum leap forward in how much crypto is occupying people's mind space, who otherwise like wouldn't have thought about crypto. But it's really felt like each year at Privy, we've like unlocked a new level of adoption. It just, if you weren't paying attention to the market, you never would have understood that.
Do you have any thoughts like year on year? Like you've been there from the start. Do you have like a specific moment where you were like, okay, this is like Privy's moment, like this is where
Totally.
the experience was
Yeah,
going
yeah.
straight?
So we launched the product like just around the time FTX collapsed and the market completely froze over. There's nothing happening. That ended up being a great time for us to get off the ground because teams didn't really have much going on. So they were like very willing to talk to us, to tell us about their business, tell us about, all the problems they have with users. And we were able to work with them and build a product to help them unlock more usage. That never would have been possible if it was a, vertically growing market. They never would have taken the time to work with a company who didn't have a product yet. And so we got some early customers in end of 2022. We started getting more and more customers through 2023, but there was like really nothing happening in the market. It was quite quiet. And I remember the summer of 23 being at ETHCC in Europe, which is the biggest gathering of like all of the developers in the crypto ecosystem at the time. And I was getting depressed because there was like nothing new happening. No one was like talking about a new product. It was just a lot more of the same. And then I think the fall or late summer, early fall of 2023, everything like changed, and I got like so much more confident that the crypto market was about to boom. And I think Coinbase, with their base launch, deserves a lot of credit for that. They like really breathed life into the market that was super needed. They got a bunch of great builders to launch. So this was the time that we got Blackbird using Privy. This is the time we got Zora using Privy. This is the time we got fintech, which was our like really big visible launch using Privy. And it just catalyzed an energy of like, let's try new stuff that has been accelerating ever since. And so that was the moment where I was like, okay, we went from, I don't know, when this market's going to come back to we're here and this is just going to keep building.
Was Friendtech the first application where Privy was, well known on CT? You would say that was the first time I used Privy Tech.
We had a couple of like, not nearly as visible customers use us. Courtyard is one of our earliest customers. They're a trading card marketplace that uses Privy. You could sign up with an email, buy and sell digital trading cards with a credit card. Everything is built on crypto rails behind the scenes, and they started getting pretty good adoption, but it wasn't literally everyone in the crypto market was using Friendtech. Friendtech was actually quite visible about using Privy because when they launched, a lot of people had questions about like how do the wallets here work, and so they were pretty loud of like, we use this thing called Privy. Here's how it works. So it ended up being the best way to get visibility for the company.
Yeah, I still remember like downloading the app on the App Store and being like, how do you connect this thing? How do you work it out? Because it's not asking you to connect your regular wallet. So I think definitely my first experience as well.
Yep.
If you had to take a step back.
That was awesome. That was a very chaotic but very fun time.
100%. If I had to take a step back just for our audience, how much time does it take? Let's say I'm a developer and I have to enable logins and all the wallet authentication. How much time does it take for someone to just go to Privy Docs and plug it in?
Yeah. We just had an announcement yesterday, along with Tempo's testnet transaction launch, where our engineering team was able to vibe code like a fully functional peer-to-peer payments app that works worldwide, built on Tempo in a few hours. We've had developers integrate Privy in less than 10 minutes. We have like a record board. Anytime someone says like, I'm going to start integrating, and then they follow up with us saying they're live. And so we've had teams do that in 7 minutes, and we're like, okay, who's going to beat the 7-minute team? Shout out to Bags. I don't know if you'll ever listen to this, but that's the team who has the 7-minute record. So we a big investment for us is making it as simple as possible to integrate Privy.
100%. But the reason I'm asking is because just to kind of give a comparison, where previously, maybe a couple of years back, everyone had to build these tools in-house, and the amount of capital resources you need was so much different. So how better it has gotten over the years is remarkable. Uh, but another question that I had is, you work with crypto protocols, thousands of projects, but you also work with fintechs. Like, I think, I don't know when you announced it, maybe a couple of months back, or maybe a month back, with Klarna, the fintech company, buy now, pay later
Yeah.
uh, project. What's like the differences between working with a crypto protocol and someone that is more TradFi?
Bunch of differences. So they are totally different mindset. Crypto companies like Zora, OpenSea, Hyperliquid, Pump Fun, their products are built from day one on crypto rails. They need a wallet system to do, anything with the product, really. And they, over the years, like, have Privy's brand has become well known enough that these companies come to Privy with a clear idea of what they want, how they want to use the product. And it's a very, like, can you do XYZ for, here's what we're trying to build. We need XYZ. Can you help us with this? We answer those questions, and then either Privy's a good fit or it won't be. And it's a very simple process of from first conversation to the company being up and running with Privy. And if they're not using Privy, they're using something that is like Privy. With these fintechs like Klarna, they have, tens of millions, in Klarna's case, over 100 million active users on the platform. They have built everything without crypto functionality. There's no crypto, and they're considering introducing crypto, but that's not even the way they're thinking about it. They want some benefit that crypto can deliver, whether it's being able to buy, sell, or hold crypto assets for an investment use case. I think Revolut deserves a lot of credit for showing the world how, like, a modern fintech could really, and Cash App as well, can unlock a lot of value by delivering that crypto value prop to users, whether it's for a peer-to-peer remittance use case, whether it's for earning on your idle assets. There are all sorts of benefits of crypto that they might be looking for, but they want that benefit. They don't know, that wallets are a part of the stack. And so the value prop for them needs to, or the way we work with these companies is much more, here are the things you can do with this new tech stack. Here are similar companies who are doing things that I'd imagine you'd want to be doing as well as Klarna. What's interesting? Usually there's one, and then we really hands-on help them with the full tech stack, because, they don't understand all of the building blocks they need. They don't want to interface with DeFi protocols and indexing solutions and wallets and orchestration providers. They just want to purchase stablecoins or invest. So we need to package things up a lot more for these customers.
Have these conversations become easier after the acquisition? I'd assume so.
God. Yeah, so much easier. In just about every way. Stripe has relationships with, like, every company we want to get in front of, and some, any company that we think would be a good fit, like, someone at Stripe at some point in their history has talked to. So that is really helpful. And then from we went from, in the crypto market, people knew Privy and knew we were serious in building for the long term. But a company like Klarna, who just meets us for the first time and sees a 30-person team, is going to have questions about, can I build my tech stack on this startup? Or, multiples bigger than them have been around multiples longer. And, we're effectively building, like, banking infrastructure on top of this. So being a part of Stripe and being able to say, this company is obviously here to stay. They're investing in having a wallet's capability. It makes things much easier.
Do you have a acquisition day story? Like, when you found out this was happening? Like, what happened? Was there a big party after?
Yeah. I'm like a massive payments nerd. And so from, my TradFi days, from Brex, like, I've been admiring Stripe as a company from afar for a long time. Privy, in many ways, is, like, modeled after Stripe. Like, we want our developer experience to be, have the same reputation that Stripes has. And we want to abstract away like a lot of the guts of what we don't want our customers to have to think about in the same way that Stripe did for payments. So it's a company we've all been big admirers of for a long time. When they approached us and, came and said, we are serious about crypto and we can't be great at crypto without having a great wallets offering. And we've done our work on the market and we want to join forces with you. This was like beginning of this year, and we'd been building in a quiet market for a long time. Things finally started accelerating. And so the gut reaction was things are starting to go right. This is not the time to sell. But then when we understood Stripe's vision and how seriously they were taking crypto and how important it was for them to keep Privy as a product and a team operating independently and serving every pocket of the market as deeply as possible. Very importantly, like the mandate has been like every hyperliquid, every pump.fun, every FOMO. If you're not serving that customer as deeply as possible, like the market's going to move away from you because that's where the most sophisticated needs in the market are. So when we understood that that was what they wanted us to do in the context of the company, we were like, this is perfect. And then, when we announced it, the team was super excited. We had the best story was we had our like welcome to Stripe chat with Patrick and John Collison, the founders. And a few weeks prior to the acquisition, Patrick actually signed up for a Privy developer account. We were all losing our minds. We're like, oh my God, what's he doing? Is it even him? Like, we emailed him saying like, we're here to support you if there's anything we could do to help. He didn't respond. But then we asked him what he thought when he signed up for his Privy account. And he was referencing some like esoteric part of the product where we have a checklist before you go into production of all the things we want you to do to secure your app. And he was like talking about items on that checklist. And we're like, wow, he's like really engaging with our product. That's like a very cool experience.
And then he ends up going to Kaido and checking his Yaps leaderboard.
Exactly. He was on the board that week for sure.
He was definitely on the board that week. How's the tech side been after the acquisition? Like, is there, how are you guys thinking about the next wave of crypto consumer experiences?
Yeah. So there's the crypto native side of the market, there's the fintech side of the market, or the enterprise side of the market. I think those are going to converge over time. We're already starting to see it where, Polymarket and Kalshi are powering Robinhood and Coinbase. And, it's only a matter of time before, these products integrate things like Hyperliquid and social feeds. And I just think everything is going to continue coming together. Our like just stated goal is like wherever crypto gets real product market fit, real adoption, like we want to be the infrastructure behind that. And so, right now that's prediction markets, right now that's perps. There's all sorts of things happening in DeFi and trading that we're spending a lot of time with, just trying to learn from the teams that are building there. What's like, what do they see about the market that the rest of the market doesn't see? What do they need to build that? How could we make sure we have everything they need to make that experience great? And then on the fintech side, it's, we're just unlocking like orders of magnitude more of legitimacy. And the most important thing on the fintech side, you have all these companies, Klarna, SoFi had an announcement today. Western Union had an announcement a few weeks ago. Remitly had an announcement. Like all these big companies are making statements. They're coming into the crypto market. The most important thing is making sure they deliver real value, because if they can, with their investments, show all of their peer companies, we're unlocking this experience that wouldn't be possible without these investments. That's what gets everyone else to do it. Whereas now there are many early adopters, but it is like I'm putting myself on the forward innovation curve.
100%. A quick question before what I actually wanted to ask is like, with all these big fintechs and Western Union, all these very big institutions, how much time does it take for them from learning about Privy and actually going live with Privy? Like, what's the duration like?
Yeah, the there's the upfront evaluation. So with the fintech, it's like usually with crypto native companies, we talk to developers. They're like ready to go. They're small teams. They move fast. They know they're already sold on building with crypto. With fintechs, it's like there's usually either the CEO is very excited about crypto and wants to spin up a team to build, or the board is pushing the CEO, or there's a product person who, grounds up is just sees the value they can deliver. But it starts with one person, and then there are a bunch of different stakeholders. There are the product people, the partnerships people, the legal and compliance people. All of these teams need to come together and all feel good about what the experience they want to ship is. That can take months. Some teams are like fast, know what they want, but then so figuring out what the experience is and getting everyone comfortable, that takes some time. And then when they're ready to build, these experiences could be built in a few weeks. So Privy experiences on the crypto native side could be built in a few minutes. On the fintech side, you have to figure out how to fit this new rail into the rest of the product experience. There's a lot of architecture to fit it alongside. So we've had companies at Klarna's scale get Privy up and running in 2 weeks. That's the fastest. And I think the base case is like you should probably carve out a month or so.
Got it. Like you're already dominating authentication and wallets in the space. What do you think is like the next layer of wallets that you are focusing on? Is it, like I've read somewhere that wallets are going to be the super apps in crypto. And you don't need to kind of go to another interface to do anything. Everything is going to be inside the wallet. So do you think Privy is going to be focusing more on yield stuff, or more on, let's say, if you're an exchange and you want to even have the KYC in the wallet itself, is that something you're focusing on, or is payments like the number one thing?
Yeah, yield is very important. We like to talk about how crypto allows financial products to turn into super apps. So you could get peer-to-peer payments, you could get investments, tokenized stocks, all the crypto, the crypto assets, perps, prediction markets. You could really like just swap USDC into like any of these product shapes. And that's really powerful. And we want to package as much of that for our customers as possible. On-off ramping, yield, being able to bridge and swap natively in the Privy wallet experience, being able to take the Privy wallet with you from app to app. There are all sorts of investments beyond just onboarding and payments.
Have you guys ever thought about building a consumer app yourself?
We are through and through a developer tool. So no, we have Privy Home. Sorry, I'm walking. I have to let into our office. We have Privy Home, which is a surface you can go to sign in with an email, and you can see all the Privy wallets you've created, all of the assets you have across all of these apps. And so that's a consumer surface, but it's not a consumer app in the same way like Phantom or MetaMask or what Base is doing are all consumer apps. And we've had a hard line there. That's just not where we're going to be great. We want to be a developer tool.
Awesome. All right, Max, I know we're closing up on time. Being a company that interfaces with so many consumer apps, and you see so much consumer app meta on the timeline, like, hey, we have all this info, there are all so many chains, where are the consumer apps? What do you think is like a secret sauce behind one of these consumer apps? Like, if you were talking to a young team, what would your number one advice be to them in terms of building a consumer app?
Yes. I love consumer apps. They're so fun. That's one of the best parts about building Privy is we get to work with these teams who are passionate, like Paul at FOMO. I've learned so much from diving in with him and how he's built the product, for example. You know, and there are always like 3 or 4 of these teams we're working deeply with at any point in time that I'm just learning so much from. I think the best advice for someone looking to build a consumer app is start with like the product experience you want to deliver. Don't start with the crypto. So if you're building Blackbird restaurant loyalty, like you want to unlock being able to tap your phone, earn rewards from going to a restaurant, and then using those rewards to pay your bill at restaurants. You don't want to unlock account abstraction. You don't want to unlock gasless payments. You want to unlock like some consumer experience. So figure out what that is. Figure out like if you actually need crypto to unlock that experience. It's very possible you don't. And the experience is like just as good without the crypto, and building it on crypto rails might be like more overhead than like you should be taking on when you're launching the product. But figure out, you know, is it better payments? Is it, you know, ownership and self-custody? Is it being able to swap between assets? Like what is the reason? Is it making the product global by day one? Why crypto? And then just be very clear about that thing and build that into the experience. But always start from like, what is the like product experience you want to deliver?
That's awesome. I think we're at end today. Thank you so much, Max, for coming on, and always love to hear these stories that, you know, everyone uses this product, but not many see the faces behind it. So this is awesome.
Awesome. This was so fun. Thanks for jamming with me. Thanks for having me, and keep this up. Great.
Thanks.
Bye.
Cool.